Hi everyone, you're watching Folk Project Television, and I'm your host, Joe Guzzo. This is the first show of the new year, and I'm tickled to have a special guest on the show today. And Folk Project Television is going to try to bring you lots of fresh new music. Obviously, we're going to use safe social practices, but we're going to work to have more guests on the show. And I'm looking forward to making sure that happens for you. Now, this last year has been a tough year, far more difficult than typical, and with far-reaching impact on people from all walks of life. Now, rather than focusing on the negative, however, let's look at what we accomplished. I know we had some good things take place. We did, didn't we? Yeah, I thought so. Oh, yeah, I remember now. The Folk Project Stay Away efforts managed to bring music to you throughout the year. We had special paid concerts, song circles, various workshops, Zoom celebrations, and free concerts. And this program. Now, we discovered new ways to help performers make a few dollars despite the closing of so many venues. None of our efforts, however, would have mattered had it not been for the generosity of the members of the Folk Project. So for that and so many more reasons, I want to thank you. I know we're hoping for an end to the pandemic, but let's face it, it isn't going to happen tomorrow. I read something earlier that said if we continue to distribute vaccines at the rate that we're doing right now, it'll be about 10 years before we reach herd immunity here in America. I'm sure we're going to do better, but that's just what I read today, and kind of puts it in perspective for me that we still have a long way to go. Now, the new year brings new hope and opportunities for change. And I'm really optimistic that 2021 will offer us that and much more. And you're probably wondering why I'm still bloviating. So I'm going to shut up. Let's get to our guest and what she has to say. Here is an interview that we taped earlier in the week. Hi everyone, this is Joe Guzzo, and you're watching Folk Project Television. And as you can see, we have a special guest with us today. That special guest is Chrissy Roberts. Say hi, Chrissy.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Joe.
Chrissy has been a member of the Folk Project for quite some time, and we're going to get to know her a little bit better and let you have a chance to learn a little bit more about her. So we'll get started with a few interesting things that you may not know about Chrissy. She has a day job. She's not a full-time musician at this point, although maybe she wants to be.
That'd
Why
be
don't you
cool.
tell us what you do when you're not singing?
I'm an occupational therapist and I work with kids, and I work in a school system. I've done that job since 2004. I've been working with kids in school systems, and then I also see kids outside of the school in a program called Early Intervention. That's for toddlers,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had some private clients too over the years.
Okay, that sounds like a very interesting job.
Yeah.
You think you would give that up for music if you were to become more well-known and,
Well, the practice of my art of music is always a privilege. So if more opportunities presented themselves and that made sense, that is certainly something I would be open to. So it's sort of it. If music needed my time, I would give it to it at that point in at that juncture. And the great thing about occupational therapy is there's always a need for it.
right,
So
right.
it is something that I do enjoy. I do enjoy my work. But yeah, certainly if there was some great musical opportunity, I think I would probably go in that direction. Yeah.
Now, you wrote a new song. In fact, it was on our show on the December 20th program. And the name of that song is Pandemic Year. Obviously, you had some inspiration because of what's been going on. Could you tell us a little about that inspiration and how it came to be?
Yeah, well, some of my songs, sometimes when I've written a song, it's hard for me to recall the exact moment that I decided to make the thing into a song. And I think Pandemic Year is a little bit like that. I can remember sitting down at the piano, and the first couple lines of the song are about the holidays. I liked the idea of writing a holiday song, a song like, for this time of year that marked the fact that it's a painful year,
Hmm.
and it's a challenging year, and certainly in varying degrees, everybody has different situations in their life. So there's been a lot of tragedy this year and a lot of terrible things that people have had to deal with. And then there's this kind of opposite on the other hand. On the other hand, it's forced me and I think a lot of people to kind of find beauty in the simple. To sort of like, if you're not always running around, um, seeing people and with your usual schedule, what does the simplicity of life end up looking like for you? So I wanted to kind of explore that with in the theme of the holidays, and I just started kind of writing the song, and it went from there.
Oh, it is a lovely song, and I'm sure that everyone who listened to the show enjoyed it as well. And just to give a little sneak peek to our viewers today, I'm going to be working with Chrissy on redoing the video that went along with that song. We both discussed that what I did, although was very nice looking, just didn't quite fit the song. So we're going to redo it and make it a lot more attractive and appropriate, the photographs and everything else that are in the song. So,
Yeah, I'm excited.
so how long have you been making music?
Well, I mean, I started playing around with music since I was a child. I mean, I can remember sitting on the floor with the xylophone and little toy keyboards and things like that. So I've always loved replicating what I heard.
Hmm.
I like if I heard a song on the radios, I remember I would like if I was driving around with my mom in the car, I would try to keep that song in my head until I could get to my keyboard, even as a child, and then I would try to like find the notes on the keyboard, and I just I got a kick out of that. My first songs that I wrote, well, I wrote some silly stuff in grammar school. Me and a friend, wrote like a bunch of very silly sort of songs and made a tape. So
Hmm.
maybe those were the first songs I wrote. And we started to just use like the preset sounds that come on a keyboard. Like when you
Right.
just hit the beat on the keyboard and it's like do 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 do, and like so we wrote some songs to that kind of stuff. Um, the first time I wrote a song and recorded it was probably it was after college, and that was like the late 90s. And that was my first song that I decided to write. Like I had been in the studio with some people in my choir because we had done like a choir album and we had gone to the studio. I thought that was so much fun. And then I sang harmony on another friend's project, so I was
Hmm.
back in the studio again. And I loved being in the studio. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go to the studio. So I went to the studio and I recorded like 3 covers. And that was sort of the beginning of me like having something to give to people, like, hey, can I come perform at your cafe? Here's my demo.
Hmm.
Um, but then at some point I realized I couldn't sell those songs. I couldn't really make those available. I learned about, copyright protection and everything. So I was like, well, I still want to write songs and I don't want to go through the hassle of getting the the rights to publish this song by someone else. So let me just write something. So it was sort of like writing a song was a vehicle for me to be able to just like go record more music.
Right.
It was it had a specific role. So yeah, that was like one of my first songs. It's called Don't Let Me Fall.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sat down and wrote some lyrics and put some music to it.
Now, I know that you talk about the keyboard, but I know you play the guitar. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, playing the guitar and the fact that you're interesting that you're, just like I am, self-taught.
Yeah, yes. In college, I remember my good friend Karen was going to be getting a guitar. And at that point, I was already self-taught in like a bunch of piano and the harmonica and this and that. Like I just enjoyed teaching myself instruments. It was sort of just like this fun thing that I always did. And like, whereas my parents would get I have one brother, and my brother would get like, a He-Man figure or something, and I would get like a new keyboard. So my parents were always like kind of like, helping me by getting me that next instrument. So
Mm-hmm.
I was in college and my mom was saying, well, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for Christmas? I was like, I don't know. I was like, oh, how about a guitar? Because my friend was getting a guitar. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So got the guitar. Again, got a how to play the guitar book. Mel Bay, How to Teach Yourself Guitar. And just like with the other kind of things that I had learned, I just sort of like started on page 1 of the book and made a racket, made some terrible sounding sounds for a year, built up some calluses and learned all my basic chords, and and I think the thing that made guitar different for me than other instruments was that after I learned those basic chords, and then I realized I could sing. Like I could sing while playing, and I didn't really think much of my voice. Like I didn't think I had any kind of special voice, but I just loved that it was like the whole thing, like you could do the whole song at the same time. That fascinated me. Like I could play and sing. I'm like, okay, wow, this is really cool. And then I learned about arpeggiating. So it wasn't just about strumming chords. It became about like, wow, I can like change the chord up. I can play. And from there, I just really and it's just never ended. Like my fascination with using the guitar and learning different ways to use the guitar and learning new chords and new ways of playing just hasn't ended. And to be honest, I still think I'm very much a beginner guitarist. And in a lot of ways I am, because I wasn't formally trained. So what I do is it's very much individual to me. But I have tons more I could learn. And I love that. I like the ongoing nature of the
You mentioned how your voice, you didn't feel that you were exceptionally good at singing when you started. But I do know that you mentioned to me earlier when we spoke vocal lessons. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How long have you been taking them?
Yeah, so I've just been taking vocal lessons since the pandemic started. I've never taken vocal lessons. I've put out 4 albums without a vocal lesson, and I just never, I don't know how, I think I didn't think about taking them, because I'm self-taught and everything, and so I didn't really think about it. But when pandemic started, I thought I wanted to take some kind of lesson, and it was either going to be violin, because I'm dabbling in violin, or it was going to be voice. And actually, it almost ended up not being violin, because that's sort of the first decision I made. But then I just had some trouble like finding the right violin teacher, and it just wasn't going smooth. And I was like, you know what? Let me see about this, these voice lessons. So I was able to sign up. I'm working with someone that I met through Folk Project. Actually, his name is Richard Bozick. So a lot of people I think know him through Folk Project. He's awesome, and I've learned a lot. And actually, I joked with him that I've made 4 CDs and I didn't know how to sing. like I've muddled through, but like it's just been really helpful. And I mean, my intention when I started the voice lessons was like not to decline, because I just thought it's pandemic and like I'm not going to be singing at church and I'm not going to be doing gigs, and I do want to sing on the other end of this. So let me like make sure I don't forget how to do it. But in fact, I think like I've learned a lot and it's helped me a lot.
Now
And I feel like
mentioned church.
yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? I understand you sing in a choir, or
Yeah, yeah, in a lot of ways, my learning guitar kind of intertwined with church singing, because I went to a Jesuit college and I was learning the guitar, and I was sort of just learning on my own. I didn't know any musicians. I wasn't taking any music classes. My roommates and my housemates weren't into music, weren't into learning music. They loved music, but
hmm
so I thought to myself, okay, what am I gonna do with this? Like, I'm not gonna go like join a rock band, or I'm not looking for that end of things. I was like, well, why don't I join that group at the church? And then there was like a folk group that sang at the masses. So I went to do that, and in fact, that was a huge learning experience for me,
hmm
because just learning to play in real time, learning to play with other people, learning to kind of start to sing harmonies while I'm playing. So that was really great. And then after college, I didn't really see myself continuing with that at all, because I thought that was just a special thing about college, and I just really liked the folk nature of it. And the choirs that I knew of were very like classical and very like operatic sounding,
right.
and that was not what I was used to. So I
Okay.
was like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna do this anymore. Like, I'm never gonna do music again. And like, I was sort of like sad about it. And my dad was like, will you go join the church choir? And I'm like, no, 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 I'm never gonna do that. And then I've been doing that for 20 something years now.
hmm
So that is a church in Westwood, New Jersey. It's called St. Andrews. And yeah, now all these years later, I'm one of the cantors, and it's like a family to me.
That's
They're,
nice. That's
I've known
nice.
them a long
Now,
time. So
I know you provided me some music, and
yes,
why don't you tell us about the first song we're going to play? You have, like I think you gave me three songs, correct?
yeah. So you want me to just pick one of them?
Sure. Tell me which one you'd like me to play first, and we'll share
Okay.
it with our
Well,
audience.
yeah. The first one that I recorded was Naked Poetry, and I recorded that on piano, on keyboard, and let's see. I sort of like I was being a little funny with my wording when I wrote that, because I was like, some of the words are, I wrote naked poetry by my window. So I was sort of just like playing around with that concept of like, what does it mean to be naked, and like how vulnerable do
hmm
you want to be, right? And how much do you want to like expose yourself, under that metaphor of naked,
Right. Right.
um, which is just sort of like kind of a fun thing to stick in a song, and play like little play on words. So
I'm sure with the pandemic going on right now, there are a lot of people that are doing naked poetry and sitting in front of their windows. So,
maybe.
well, why don't we give that song a listen,
Sure.
and we'll be right back.
I wrote naked poetry by my window. I just needed a moment to breathe, to everything I never would have said. Feel the freedom and not hiding a thing. My clothes are like a shield I shed. I feel alive and aware. My bare skin brings out everything I never would have said. And maybe I need a brave face sometimes. Maybe I need a shield sometimes. And maybe I need my clothes sometimes. But I wanna write more naked
Well, thank you so much for giving us that song. It's an interesting concept, naked poetry. I'm sure I'm not going to be sitting in front of my window naked.
Neither am I.
Now, where are you at present, and do you have anybody living with you?
I'm here in my home in Bayonne, New Jersey, and during the pandemic, my boyfriend David has been staying with me. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. And I understand there's someone else living with you.
Yes, 2 cats, and they rule the castle. They're in
Aha.
charge.
Well, we know that cats always do take charge when they're in a home. So
Yeah.
now, the pandemic has shut venues and festivals throughout the world. How has that affected you specifically? Any comments on that?
Yeah, well, I'm part of a really active music community in, aside from my choir, which I'm very active in, obviously, and I see them usually once a week and usually sing at masses 1 or more time per week. So that's affected me in that way. And then I'm also actively involved in the music community in Jersey City, where there's just a lot of artists and a lot of musicians in Jersey City, and we it's just a nice community of people. And my friend Nick Ciavata, I'll give a shout out to his company. It's called Friggin' Fabulous Productions, because he does a lot of booking, like brunch shows where we kind of all just get together on a Saturday and just all maybe spend some time. Maybe there's 4 featured performers, but more of us will come if we can and just hang out and maybe just say hi to each other. So I really miss that. I miss those people and those opportunities. So and then any gigs that I would book, are obviously on hold as well. So gigs have all happened online, if at all. Yeah.
Do you have anything planned online?
No, actually, I think I'm going to be a part of something this Wednesday. I think there's a benefit show for St. Jude's
Okay.
that I'm going to be a part of. So, I don't know how to give you, the info is not out there yet, but I do think it's going to be on that Friggin' Fabulous Productions
Wonderful.
Facebook page if anyone wants to look.
Wonderful, wonderful. If you could send that information along, I'll try to get it on my show and let people know about it when it's ready.
Sure. Well, actually, that's happening this coming Wednesday, so that might
We
be.
won't. Yeah, I won't be able to get it on the show because it's
Yeah.
airing afterward.
Okay.
Now you have you've been working on new songs. You just put out a new song, and you have some singles recorded. Are you planning on an album or at any point in time? Have you given any thought to albums or?
Well, So I think probably the next thing I have in mind is taking the various Christmas songs I've worked on for this year, which so far is three, I think, two or three, and maybe doing a couple more throughout the year so that at next Christmas, maybe having a cohesive EP, like maybe 6 or 7 songs, Christmas songs. Um, I mean, as far as having the next album, I mean, my last album came out just November 2019, so it's like just 13 months ago. Not very long. I don't have enough material yet for a new album, so I have 2 new folk songs, I guess. And I tend to just record an album when I have like 8 or more songs. That's the point at which I tend to record an album historically. I mean, I do have producing music has changed so much that, I mean, in the future, I don't really have much of a plan to press CDs because music is mostly sold digitally or streamed digitally these days. So, the other question in my mind is like, do I do another album or do I just continue to do singles? Or do I release the singles and then put it together as a remastered album after? So I really don't have a good answer for you as far as when will my next album be out. I think that the next few things I'll be releasing this year will be singles for now. I'm gonna go that route and just try to be like a little consistent with releasing maybe like every other month at least releasing a new single. And I think that that's accomplishable.
I think that your goal is very doable,
Yeah.
and trying to push yourself to have an album just because that's the thing, that does not make sense. If you're not happy with the songs and the product, you're obviously not going to be happy with doing anything. And you might lose interest in music. And from what I hear in your voice and the way you talk, music is truly important to you. Can you tell us what your favorite thing about it is? Is there some specific bit?
I don't know. There's like a million things I love about music. I love the self-expression of creating an original song. I've always found it fascinating that I can like sit at home in my office or in my bedroom and write out some lyrics and put some music to it and then make that into like a tangible product that someone can then listen to. And then the thought that that thing ends up, it's like art, like visual art is seen different by each person that sees it, perceives it different, interprets it differently. And it's the same with music. And so the thought that I can write some words and put some music to it and record it and then people listen to it and it means something to them, or that I hear from them that it moved them, or that they want to hear it again. They please play me that song again, or Chrissy, I keep listening to that song by you, or I saved that song in my Spotify playlist. I mean, that just blows my mind. That is such a level of like sharing art and sharing experiences that that's probably my favorite thing about original music. And maybe that's, now that I'm getting a little more into production too, I can see that becoming something that is important to me too in releasing a cover, like releasing my version of a cover. Like if I'm able to allow the listener to hear the lyrics in a new way, or something about the way I produced the song or the way I interpreted the song touches them, that's another creative element as well.
Well, with your creative process, what comes first, music or lyric?
It's been both for me, but I think that my songs come out more cohesively if I write the lyrics first.
Okay.
Because if I write the lyrics first, especially with no thought of a song in mind, I'm able to really focus on whether the phrasing makes sense I'm able to keep laser focused on like, where's this song going? What am I saying? Whereas sometimes when I introduce the music in the creative process too early, if I just have like a phrase that I like, and then I find music that I like to it, and now I already know how I want it to sound, and I'm trying to make cohesive phrases around existing musical phrases,
Mm-hmm.
that that doesn't always work for me, because then I find myself wanting to use words that maybe don't serve the meaning of the song but just sound good. Like,
Right.
and I don't like that so much.
So basically, you create a poem
Yeah,
and you add the music.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay, that's.
Yeah.
I've done that a few times with mine, but I usually noodle around with the guitar and come up with some kind of melody first.
Mm.
Then I build my structure around the musical phrasing rather than words, and I build the music. I'm not that great a guitarist, so I have to do the guitar part first until I come up with something that I like. So,
Mm-hmm.
I know you have another song for us. Which one would you like me to play next?
Maybe Fire Escape.
Fire Escape, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you wrote that one about, why don't you tell us a little about the song?
I wrote that one about a fire escape.
Just about a fire.
I used to live in Jersey City, and I was on the fourth floor of a fourth floor walk-up condo, and so I didn't have outdoor space except for this fire escape, which was out of my bathroom window. So sometimes I would like go out there, and like also in other I had lived in another place too in Jersey City, and I always used the fire escape as my garden, because honestly one of the reasons I moved was so that I could have a garden. So I do I'm not a great gardener, but I just do like having that outdoor space. So my fire escape was my herb garden spot, and I would have flowers out there in the nice weather, and sometimes you had to climb out there, but I would go out there and just stand and like look at the neighborhood, and it was so that song, like on my fire escape for real, I would never have two of us out there. I don't think it was like secure enough, like I really don't, but in my song I pretend that I'm out there with someone, and that we're kind of sharing a bottle of wine, and just enjoying the neighborhood, and just talking about various things, and it's supposed to be just like a lighthearted song about the experience of experiencing a neighborhood from the fire escape.
The photographs that you sent me of you on a fire escape, is that the fire escape?
Nope. But that is the fire escape of it's a fire escape that is near a music studio where I've done some practicing. So that fire escape is not meaningless to me. It is a place that I have seen before and I like, but it's not the fire escape.
Now, why don't we just listen to it and let your song tell us about that fire escape?
Sounds good.
Watch the people walk below as the light turned dim, some turned low. Found a piece that I did not know. I stayed there then, stayed there still, and you knew it all the while, and you knew my name. Held me close, laid down the shame. Stays together, will not separate. Sat there watching on the fire escape. You said, give me a sip, and I passed the wine. You said, some things are easier down the line. Looked at you, wondered what you meant. Let it go, this is heaven sent. Knew it all the while, and you knew my name. Held me felt the low as the light turned dim, the sun turned low. Found a peace that I did not know. Stayed there, then I stayed there so. You a little while and you knew my name. Held me closely down the shame. We stayed together, will not separate. Sat there watching on the fire escape.
Well, I'm glad that that song was able to give you a chance to talk about your fire escape and the concept that you wanted to share. I'm glad it wasn't because you had to use the fire escape to get out of a fire. Because that would not be a good thing. That would not be.
That's true.
Now, let's look at what you like about music from the other side as a listener. Who's your favorite band or performer?
Oh my goodness. I mean, you know what? I knew you were going to ask me this question, and my answer changes by the day. My answer can change by the day. So I'm just going to talk about who first inspired me to pick up the guitar, and that was the Indigo Girls.
Oh, okay.
When I was in high school, a friend of mine put on a CD or a tape in the car, and I first heard the Indigo Girls, and I just thought, how can I even go to school or focus on anything else besides these songs?
Mm-hmm.
I was blown away because, most of my musical listening at that point had been just whatever's on the radio. And whatever was on the radio at that time was very synthesizer heavy. Just very it didn't sound like organic instruments the way I like music to sound. And I heard that, oh my God, I could hear there was piano, but mostly you heard the guitar and you heard the picking they were doing on the guitar and the harmonies. And it was just all so blended, and I was just blown away. And so they were really my first inspiration for picking up the guitar. And I still love to listen to them. I mean, they're just awesome, groundbreaking, amazing songwriters and musicians. So yeah, they're up there. They probably are still up there as one of my favorites.
Now, if you could choose to perform or jam with anyone, living or dead, doesn't matter. Excuse me. What performer, what band would you think you'd like to hang out with and play?
Yeah, it would be the Indigo Girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are many other writers and performers and singers that if I could spend an hour with Billy Joel or Paul Simon, I would just I don't know. I would probably go into shock with how thrilled I would be.
I'm going to use that as a segue. I'll be right back in frame here. Let me.
Sure.
I want to show you something that I have here. Because you mentioned Paul Simon.
Mm-hmm.
When I got interested in the guitar and music. Well, I shouldn't say that. I've always been interested in music. My mom loved to sing around the house. We always had the radio on. And I picked up my first guitar at a friend's house and started strumming it. And he had a music book with him that was my first music book after I gave him back his guitar. I ran out and bought my own. This is that music book.
Nice.
So this has been around for years. Pages are all yellowed.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it's not white anymore.
Nice.
So that was my first music book. And what I liked most about it was every song, because I didn't know how to play guitar at the time, every song had shapes.
Yeah. Yep.
For the chords. Now, this is probably not the most detailed. Like Paul Simon uses a lot more chords than what this book has. But this was a good start for me to learn some basic shapes and basic chords. And I've struggled with many of them because I was making the shapes wrong for years. But eventually I became somewhat fluent. But that was my first. So I agree with you that Paul Simon is definitely one of those people I would just be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Paul Simon songs and Indigo Girls songs were my first songs that I learned. And the Indigo Girls, bless their souls, the books that they put out all had tablature at the end. So I was like, oh my God. I was just thrilled about that because some of their songs, the arpeggiating is gorgeous, gorgeous, and it's somewhat specific.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to like replicate it. I mean, it was just such a gift to me that they published the tablature. I was like I'm still so thankful to them that they, you know, went that extra mile with the books that they put out, because it really was a huge learning tool for me. Like at a time, like you're saying, it was at a time that I was still learning basic chord shapes, but I was able to learn these alternate tunings that they did because they just said, here's how to tune it, tune this string to this, they did dadgad tuning a bit and drop D tuning on a couple things, I think. So I just learned about that and learned how to sort of do it.
So the next couple of questions, next three questions that I have for you are kind of fun questions. They're nothing to do with anything serious. What is the nuttiest thing you've ever done? And it doesn't have to be about music. It could be about anything.
The nuttiest thing I've ever done. Oh my God, I feel really boring right now. I can't think of anything. I don't know. I didn't prepare for this one very well. What is the nuttiest thing I've ever done?
I know what it is. It's being on my show. That's the nuttiest thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think that's probably my answer. The nuttiest thing I've ever done. I don't know. I mean...
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we come back to that? You think about it while I ask you my next question.
Good idea. Sorry.
Do you sing in the shower?
No, I actually don't really sing in the shower. I sing in the car.
Okay.
So I that is really a place that and it's actually really useful to me because if I'm learning a new piece for choir or for full performing or whatever, I will sing it and sing it and sing it and sing it in the car, whenever I'm going back and forth to work or whatever, because it just adds so much great practice time and lets the song kind of sink into my subconscious, and it allows me to practice the song, vocally.
Right.
So yeah, I enjoy singing in the car a lot, and sometimes I make up harmonies in the car or practice harmonies. So not the shower.
Now, it's funny because I hear myself doing many of the same things. Although now with the pandemic, I hardly ever go out of the house, so that doesn't happen.
Right.
But I think all of us who are in either songwriters or just you do covers or anything like that, the car is a great rehearsal hall.
It is. I love it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure people think I'm crazy. Like, oh, at least now people talk like on the phone in the car. Mm-hmm. So if someone drives by and I'm like blah blah, they won't be like, oh my gosh, she's talking to herself. Like at least they'll probably think I'm on the phone unless you could really tell I'm singing. And
well, I've always seen people singing in their cars, and I thought it was great because I do it too. So
yeah.
I can't say I look at them strangely or anything like that because I know I probably have made people do double takes on these things too. Here's another fun question. We all have lots of different talents in lots of different areas. What is your most useless talent?
Juggling.
Juggling?
Yeah.
All right, that's actually very nice. I have tried to learn to juggle. I simply can't get my eyes and hands and brain to, too
I
much.
promised you I could teach you.
Oh, I'm sure somebody could teach me, but I mean, I'm self-taught. It ain't happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's get back to that nutty thing. Did you come up with any ideas? Have you given it any? Has anything percolated to the top of of your brain?
The nuttiest thing you know what? I don't have any one nutty thing that I did, but one thing I can say about myself that is maybe like, that I like about myself is that but it's good and bad. It's good and bad. It's that I'm not afraid to take chances.
Mhm.
So like, I'm not afraid to like, you know, get up in front of people and sing a song. Like, I mean, that's, when I first started doing it, I was like shaking in my boots. So I shouldn't say that I wasn't scared to do it. I was scared, but I will do it. Like, so I'll do things before I'm maybe ready. I'll jump into things and learn as I go. And I think that is, sometimes it's nutty because sometimes, um, it's, I mean, performing before you're ready to perform is nutty.
Yeah.
But that's not a very exciting answer, but I mean, that's what's coming to my mind. And I think, but I'm similar with other things. I mean, just, I'll take on projects before I kind of know exactly what I'm doing and learn as I go. Um, I've traveled to places, like, which I really look forward to traveling again, but I've traveled really, not knowing that I knew nothing about the place I was going to, but just wanting to be open to that experience and, get on the train and go up to Canada, and
Mhm.
get on a plane and go to, Germany and Spain I've visited now, and I'm just looking forward to many more travels. So that's my best answer for you. It's not very
That's a
exciting.
good answer.
I can't think of one thing that's nutty. Like, I don't like jump. I don't power hang glide or do things like that. I'm just not that person. But my
Yeah,
risks are a little bit more
I
subdued, I
think I
suppose.
understand because I can't say that I've done anything that most people would consider nutty. I mean, I just not part of my makeup. I've done things that are kind of different, but not
Hmm.
what I would say nutty. So I get it. I
Yeah,
certainly get it.
yeah,
Now, I know you have one more song for us. Why don't you
yes.
tell us a little bit about the name of it and about what songs, how'd you come up with that one?
Well, okay. So that song is called Solitude, and um, I wrote that. That was one that I wrote as poetry first, for sure,
Hmm.
because I can remember writing it. And I was living with my parents in Bergen County, New Jersey, and I was going to NYU for graduate school in occupational therapy. So I would go on the train every day. And a lot of times I used that time as creative writing time or studying,
Okay.
depending on what was going on. Now, this particular morning, I just had all these kind of images and words come to my head, and I basically wrote a song about being on the train, but I also tried to kind of make it meaningful in a way that people could interpret it to mean other things.
Hmm.
And so I wrote it as a full poem with no music in mind. And then when I went home, I thought, well, like, I want to put music to this. Won't it be interesting if I can make the music have a little bit of the rhythm of a train? So that's what I did. I wrote, I tried to write music that sounded a little bit, um, do, 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 do. So the rhythm of it is kind of like that.
Okay.
And yeah, that's how I wrote that song.
Well, why don't we give it a listen?
Great. This is Solitude.
Okay, I think I need to get my watch fob and the pocket watch because I feel like I just got off that train and I should have like a conductor's hat and watch. First of all,
I appreciate that.
I want to let everybody know that that's the last of my silly questions for you, and we appreciate the time you took to spend with us today. We are looking forward to the end of the pandemic when we could see you live again.
Wonderful.
And I know you were at the last folk project Getaway, and yeah, I saw you there and enjoyed, which is one of the reasons why you're here now, is that I like sharing people that I've enjoyed with our listeners and our members. And I
Yeah.
hope
It'll be nice to be at Folk Project again in the future, right?
Yeah, we.
So much inspiration there. It's such a great group, and
I know it's amazing. I've been with the group, only active with the group for about 2 years now, maybe even a little bit less. Actually, much less than 2 years. I've been actively playing with people that were members of the folk group, folk project group, but I did not actively participate as a member until this pandemic began, and I went to the last getaway that we had, and I guess about a year and a half ago now, at the fall getaway. And one of the things I found about the people in this group, I find people like yourself that are fantastic talents, people that have, the poetry that comes out of them is pretty amazing.
yeah,
Some people are amazing. They're funny people. Some are very serious people, but the spectrum is incredible, in my opinion. It's just absolutely incredible.
yeah,
And without that spectrum from which to enjoy music and enjoy the words that people come up with, the lyrics, the different sounds, the blues, the jazzy sounds, the folky sounds, the old rock and roll sounds. There's just so much out there. So I just want to say that I'm glad that I got a chance to find you through the Folk Project. I'm glad that you are an active member in the Folk Project, and we look forward to seeing you and hearing you for many, many years coming up. And hopefully venues will open up, the pandemic will be over, and we can get out there again.
yeah. That'll be great, and I agree with you. So much inspiration there. It's such a great group of people, and I can remember meeting you. I think I met you at breakfast one morning.
Yeah, I think we sat at that one of those long tables, and
Yeah, absolutely.
we're
Yeah.
certainly glad for the organization and the Getaway people, the team that puts the Getaway together, Mark
Yes.
and Robin and all the rest of them.
It's an amazingly organized weekend, and with such quality performers that they get.
I hope to be able to prepare some music to play without having to look at sheet music or my notes. I have not done much memorization, a few songs, but that's about it. But I'm working on doing that because I like the idea of being able to, show off a little bit for my friends and my new friends, the ones that I haven't yet made.
Yes.
I know a lot of people are getting to see my face on the show, and they haven't really heard me live, so it'd be nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Can't wait.
Well, thank you again,
Thank you, Joe.
and we will keep our fingers crossed that we get back together and in person again soon.
That'll be great. I look forward to it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Chrissy hopes that you're going to follow her on Facebook and Spotify. And I hope you'll support her work by purchasing her songs through your preferred streaming service or whatever you use to listen to digital music. And I'm thanking you now on her behalf. Now that's all for this week. don't forget that we have changed the frequency of our broadcasts to be every other week. So our new broadcast, the next one, will be on January 17th, not the 10th. And I'm going to be working, in fact, I am working already with Stephen Benson for a future show. And I'm going to be reaching out to other performers in the coming days. So I hope you can look forward to some more interviews and more brand new music with any luck. So we'll see what we can do to make that happen as quickly as possible. Also, please support the artists on this show by sending them tips and donations. Times have been hard for the music industry, as you know. But your kindness makes all the difference in the world. Now, before we go, another reminder to stay safe. Before you venture out into the world, wear a mask. And keep a good distance between you and any other people. Of course, the other part of it is making sure you wash your hands and do so thoroughly and often. It's easy to forget to be careful, but your life and the lives of your loved ones could hang in the balance. And as the new year progresses, remember to enjoy the music, be kind to those around you, and most importantly, keep peace in your heart. Thanks so much for watching the show. See you in a couple of weeks. Bye.